Rich Swann has got a date with the AEW champion Kenny Omega, but should it have been Moose? We're going to talk about it in just a second, so stay tuned. This is WrstlXtra.
Listen, yeah, one of these days I'm gonna do a TikTok to the to our intro music, bro. Yo, what is good, people? This is your boy ADazzle. This is WrstlXtra. I am with my guy Mekz. You are listening on AffinityExtra.com and of course watching live and later on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. People, what is good? This is episode 31. 31. Oh, we're making moves, making $1 million moves. Yo, so what is going on? So let's talk straight into it. Mekz mentioned in the intro that Rich Swann has a date with Kenny Omega.
Allow him.
Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion. And that's going to be at, what is it called again? No Surrender? I can't even remember these days.
Rebellion?
Rebellion, that's the one. Rebellion. On April, I can't remember the date, but it's in April. Bro, okay, right. You tell me your thoughts, because I know what I'm thinking already. You know what I'm thinking already.
I know what you're thinking.
You know what I'm thinking already. So you tell me your thoughts. Rich Swann, Kenny Omega, what is going to go down? How is it going to happen?
Right, so... bear with me because I'm not an avid Impact watcher. I just watch the highlights and everything. But from what I've seen and everything, I'm for the match in terms of stylistically, these two mesh better in my opinion, or they're going to mesh better. So I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, Rich Swann has been the champion. And I think this match is going to be very big for the entire crossover, the whole Forbidden Door situation. And it would have been somehow if Rich Swann just dropped the title for Moose to go and have that match. Something similar happened last night in WWE, which I guess we're going to talk about.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that.
Exactly. But so I think in the end, they've made the right choice. However, hear me out. With how Kenny Omega is being built at the minute, physically, Moose should have been the choice. Very much, Moose has come into his own in the last couple of months, especially since, he had that match with EC3. He's just a new guy, very much how Bobby Lashley has been for WWE. This is who Moose is now. Very good match between him and Rich Swann. And he didn't win. And it's like, where does Moose go from here? Rich Swann is going to face Omega. Is there any chance that he actually wins? It's very kind of obvious that Omega is the favorite. But what if? Is there a what if here that that the impact as a whole, not even just Rich Swann, can carry the AEW championship, and then is there like a crisis of confidence story coming from this, that Kenny Omega went over to Impact to kind of spite AEW and then lost their gold over there? Like, is there some type of story that Rich Swann can really become a key figure here as to why it's him? Other than that, I know a lot of people, not even just yourself, would have wanted Moose to be the guy, but at the same time, I wouldn't have wanted Moose to kind of get to the top of the mountain and then go and lose to Omega if that is the course of action. So, what do you think?
So we all know, I think it should have been Moose. I've been saying this for at least 2 months. I think I'm completely convinced. Like, there was a chance a while ago, and as you mentioned, since his match with EC3, he's just been just going up and up and up. But I think for me, about 2 months ago, I think after he had the match with Willie Mack, They had they had like a street fight or no holds barred match, and he just absolutely destroyed him. And then did the same thing like the following Tuesday on Impact and stuff like that. So from then I was like, okay, right, this is supposed to be the guy. This is the man. And because of and then as well, like Rich Swann hasn't really done much either. We made a big thing about his match against Chris Bay because it was, two black wrestlers in a pay-per-view
main event.
Main event for the championship, for the top championship in the company. So made a big fuss about that. But let's be very real about that match. That kind of came out of nowhere. Then Rich Swann has then faced Tommy Dreamer just because it was his 50th birthday.
If I speak, I'll be in trouble. So, I saw that one. I saw it and I let it go.
But then obviously Moose had his say at the end of that match as well, and then destroyed Tommy Dreamer the following Tuesday on Impact. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, right, they're building this guy exactly how they should be, and all the rest of it. So then when they finally gave him his match against Swann, I'm thinking, okay, cool, let's do it. But then they announced, obviously, Kenny Omega will face whoever wins. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm finally going to get my Moose versus Kenny Omega. So now you said the right thing. No, in saying that you wouldn't want Moose to then win, be the competitor, and then to ultimately lose, because we're all expecting Kenny Omega's going to win, hold 3-4 bouts, however many he goes for, in the next few months or whatever. And, it'll be like, okay, so what then happens to Moose? But for me, before all of that, before the match even comes about, my thing is I'm just not convinced Rich Swann feels like there's a possibility he could win. If it was Moose versus Omega, I'd be like, there's a possibility he might win, If I'm honest, I think now with how things are, there's a strong possibility that Moose is going to get involved and there's going to be a no contest. No titles change hands. That's what I'm expecting to now happen, because the Kenny Omega thing is way too obvious. AEW like to do this thing where they kind of just throw in a spanner in the works all the time. A lot of the time for no reason. But anyway, and then there's no way Rich Swann is winning this match and winning the AEW World Championship. It's not happening, bro. If it happens, I don't know. Find a forfeit for me to do or something, because I'm that confident it's not gonna happen. So for me, I do believe it's gonna be, Kenny Omega gets over, wins the match, or Moose is gonna have his say in some way, or someone else, maybe even Moxley, taking out Omega.
That was my next bit. Is Moxley, the fact that Moxley wasn't exterminated in this death match, the fact he's still walking around out here, is he the guy that costs Omega that Rich Swann could possibly win? Right.
But then it's like, has Rich Swann been built enough? And it's definitely not about his capabilities. I'm not questioning that for a single second. But has Rich Swann really been built to hold the AEW World Championship? And if he does, it will feel like a transitional Miz, and then Moxley will take him out in some way, or Moose somewhat.
But you have to remember at the same time, those that if Rich Swann is to win it, the majority of people, and I say this loosely because I don't know for sure, but the majority of people have just been watching AEW and not Impact like that.
Right.
But we do know Rich Swann has been the champion at Impact for a very long time. So there may not be a question of credibility. He had Tommy Dreamer and that, but he's beaten someone and he's been champion for Impact for a long time. He's taken the other TNA championship now from Moose. On the face of it, he looks like a credible guy. You see what I mean? So
That's true. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's not about questioning necessarily his credibility, but just more the story, the build. When you look at the two, Moose and Swann, Moose has just been on a high, on an up and up and up and up and up. So it just makes sense to then go with him. And then again, like I said, it then adds the anxiety or the unpredictability of the end result of that match, Whereas with Swann or Omega, it kind of just feels like we just know what's gonna happen.
It does look obvious. I mean, like I said, Moxley is a possible spanner in the works that could cause something here. Another thing that happened over the weekend at the pay-per-view was that the Good Brothers dropped their titles to Finn Juice. Yep. So maybe this whole thing that Don Callis put together is falling apart in front of our eyes. Who knows? I mean, it is pretty obvious that I guess Omega is going to win here. I'm just really trying to think. Is there any eventuality that Rich Swann walks out of this?
Yeah. And going back to the whole Forbidden Door situation, I think it died after the 6-man tag on Impact, because there was no
tag? Is that which one? The Kenta match?
No, not that one on Impact. So it was Omega and the Good Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Rich Swann, Moose, and Chris Sabin, wasn't it? Chris Sabin, I think so. I think it died after that because they never carried that on. Like we all got excited.
It went cold for a while, yeah.
It went cold, and I think that has probably hurt the whole thing. If it carried on, we would still be, or if it happened maybe at an earlier pay-per-view on Impact pay-per-view, then we would have been a lot more invested. I think because it's gone cold for at least a month, it's a little bit, it's just a little bit dead.
Yeah,
I think it's just a little bit dead with that, Swann and Omega, but we'll see. They've got a few weeks to do something, and it'd be interesting if Rich Swann turns up on AEW one of the weeks, and has a match with whoever. So it's a wait and see. I'll put my trust in Don Callis. Uncle Don. Let's not go there. Let
me run through some of the comments. Thanks to everyone that's watching us live. NK says Rich Swann and Omega will have an incredible match, but ultimately Swann is losing that title. He will look incredible in defeat. The belt collector is here, and he ain't going nowhere for a long time. Shantice, thanks for joining. He said, I don't know about this match. So Shantice is looking forward to it. She's not happy. Rated R for wrestling, guys. That's a guy, Anthony. Follow him on YouTube. He said the Tommy Dreamer match was pretty pointless. Pretty much echoing what you said. Yep. FH should have been Moose 100%. Although I like Swann a lot, Moose can be a star in any promotion he wrestles in.
Very true.
Shantice again, a no contest would be best. Shantice is not into this at all. Jonesy chats wrestling. Big up Jonesy here in the chat. He said, great video, lads. Hope you're both well. Thank you, bro.
Nice one, Jonesy.
Rated R for wrestling again. Anthony says, yeah, it's definitely a foregone conclusion that Omega is winning.
Yes.
Discut Larius Collective, another bunch of good guys. Make sure you're watching them on YouTube. I agree, it should have been Moose too. Would be pretty cool if Moose interferes. Omega still picks up the win, but sets up nicely for Moose versus Omega in the future. And that's the one you want to see. Anthony again, the whole crossover has fallen off a lot. I think the problem may have been was that they didn't go with a guy from outside AEW to challenge Omega. Instead, they went with Moxley.
Right. Yeah, maybe perfect point. I think that's where the problem happened, when they reverted back to it being in-house with the AEW World Championship. And it probably would have been. It wouldn't even have been the end of everything if it was Moose, if it was Swann that came for that championship, because whatever happened, you can still carry it on for another month or two, and go into other things. But we'll see what happens. I've got a feeling. I'm hoping that there is still a chance for the real kind of amalgamation of these promotions, because I know we've now seen Finn Juice win the Impact Championship. And we saw Kenta come into AEW and do something. Obviously, Private Party came into Impact and did a thing for a few weeks as well. But not enough for I want it to be like an every single week there's something or new faces every week. So even if Chris Bay comes 1 week, then 2 weeks later, Willie Mack comes in, and then a week later, Deonna Purrazzo comes. You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. Not just one story, then it's done, then nothing happens. I don't know. Let's keep ourselves on the AEW track. And let's talk about very, very shortly. I don't think there's much to say about this, but I just want to say it because it's Scorpio Sky. We now have super heel Scorpio Sky, supersonic heel Scorpio Sky. Do you think that something happens on Wednesday to carry on like him, coming for Darby Allin, or are we kind of getting Darby Allin moves on, Scorpio Sky has a fight with someone else? I don't know.
I guess maybe this week we're gonna find out his exact motivation.
Right.
He's turned heel now. As they do, they take to the mic and tell us why. So
right.
I don't want to hear no flimsy thing like, "Oh, I've spent far too long in the back. I'm in catering, this, that, and the other."
Yeah.
Just say I want the title. That's it. Just say I want the title. And that's it. If Darby's got the title, I'm after him. Let's build to that.
Yeah, for sure. I do also think it's one of those kind of, it's kind of similar to I've been sitting in the back, but it's more of very similar to maybe what Swole said the other week about feeling underappreciated and missed opportunities and all that kind of thing. But I guess at the same time, Scorpio Sky lost clean, so now he has to revert to a bit more heelish tactics to try and pursue the belt, and I think it makes sense as well because on the face of it, I'm going to use the same word again. Both men are faces, so it would make sense now for Scorpio Sky to make that change, and then we now have good guy, bad guy type of situation. But we'll see what happens with this one. I mean, my reaction when he first lost was like I was ready to kick off heads. But you saw it on Twitter. I was ready to kick off heads.
You were mad.
I was mad. But I think in the light of a loss, him doing what he did after the match just was the best thing that could have happened. So at least we've still got something that carries on. So, let's see what happens. And to have Scorpio as a heel, I've never seen that myself. I know he's done it before in other companies and the indies and all the rest of it. I've never seen it myself. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Moving along. Let's keep ourselves in the AEW again, because I'm wondering. My question, you can answer this for me. What is the point in AEW Elevation or Dark Elevation or whatever it's called? Dark Lift. I don't know. What is the point? Like, because the reason I asked that is because I'm seeing Dark as still the same thing as well. Okay. So I'm just like, I mean, the graphics on Elevation are amazing. It's beautiful. But that's it. That's all I'm seeing.
I'm glad to hear that, because I was actually asking some guys yesterday, is the presentation any different?
Nice.
While they were watching it live, so it's good, yeah.
Yeah. It's not that different, but I mean, just like the match card stuff when you see it on social media and then all of that kind of stuff, it's nice and that's pleasing to my eye. I'm all about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Branding 101 over here. So
I'm that guy. So that's one thing they've got done well. But yeah,
gold star for AEW. Finally. You know what? With Elevation, so obviously they said it's going to be basically NXT. It's going to be their space for developing new talents and all of that kind of stuff. And I would assume that falls lower than Dark. So you've got Dark in terms of that tree of things, and then Elevation comes under that.
Correct.
But obviously their first show was this one on Monday, and they had a lot of stars and not like talents, and obviously that's because it's the first one. That's pretty much how Dark started. I remember Moxley was on Dark early days. Omega was on Dark. Like
everyone.
Yeah. But then it turned into what it is now, and
Mhm.
I guess that's the same thing with Elevation. But I mean, I haven't watched it. I don't know if I will watch it, so I won't even make any promises there. But I just feel like you've got Dark for that, and you've made Dark as again. Dark was like 40 minutes when you started. Now Dark's like 2 hours plus some weeks I see.
3 hours.
Yeah, so it's like
almost.
now what is this going to bring different from Dark? I don't really
my based on the match card on Monday's Elevation, there was another like 12 matches or more. Very similar to what we know of Dark to be now. So this is why I'm asking the question, because I'm just like, yeah, some of the names may have changed. So you had Maki Ito versus Rio. That's that's Dynamite level.
Dynamite. I was about to say
that's a Dynamite level match. Yeah. There was at least another two that could have easily been on Dynamite. Red Velvet was in there, and a few others. So I'm like, okay, cool, we're doing that. But at the same time, like you said, it's the first show, so you're gonna throw a few stars in there.
Yeah,
you're gonna throw a few stars in there straight away. But what you're showing me with the 12 matches is that it's gonna be Dark. That the AEW Dark that we know. So my only anticipation now is to see that AEW Dark is going to be different.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm not sure about that yet either. Like, there's nothing to tell me that it's going to be different yet. And I guess for me, what they should have done, I haven't watched the whole thing, but what they should have done on Elevation is have, say, someone like Carly Bravo, for example, come out and talk about what his intention is, because now he's on the stage and he's got a stage and he can prove himself and blah blah blah. Give these people that are newbies or haven't had their chance before, give them a chance to talk.
Yeah,
give them a chance to kind of show themselves, and then I'll be thinking, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, cool, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Whereas it was
stuff in there as well.
Yeah. Because all it has been is just a replay of what Tuesday nights on AEW's YouTube channel has been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like, well, what are we gonna do? But
like, I was thinking, is this like them testing the Monday night waters? And then I know it's not on TV, but it's kind of running at the same time as running the States. Are they trying to pull some viewers from there? Like, when the stars of like the Jungle Boys and stuff aren't on Elevation, who's going to be here carrying the name of Elevation? The people that are on Elevation on Monday, will they then be on Dark on Tuesday? Like, I just feel, I'm not saying this is a bad move. I just think it's a bit too early. Especially, like I say, when Dark is there and Dark has become longer, they're still plotting for their next TNT show, which is, they've said it's going to come relatively soon. They're going to have 2 televised shows and 2 YouTube shows. Yeah. I don't know how the roster is just going to work around all of that.
I think there's more than enough people to do that. The thing that they're doing wrong is having so many matches. That's what they're doing. They're spreading people thin, because as we've seen, if Ricky Starks is about to face Darby Allin on Dynamite, he has a match on Dark the night before. Yeah. You know what I mean? Stuff like that happens all the time. I'm just like, why? We know what the outcome's going to be as well. There's all of that. There's all of that predictable. We know what the outcome's going to be. I thought now they should have made it very obvious, or their intentions real last night on the show. As I said, a Carly Bravo, the Varsity Blondes maybe, or a couple of these guys, Nick Camarato, whoever it is, to come out, do some character stuff, get a win where they've never won before, and we then see that it is about these newer stars, where it's just been the same thing, and I'm just like, all right, you started off wrong. The intentions are fine. The having intention of 4 shows and 2 on telly, 2 on YouTube, no problem. I think, as I said, they've got the roster for it, but they're just not executing it. I don't care if it's only the first show. They should have just showed us straight away. Like, bro, what are we waiting for? Really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
if it's too close in terms of presentation, and I say that I mean in terms of the matches, how many matches that Dark has. If it's too similar to Dark, then yeah, it's like what are we doing? Like it's just another 2 hours to show, you know, a bunch of kind of predictable outcome matches.
It's just to give Paul White some talk time.
Man, like Paul White, no more BS.
Whatever. Oh Lord. But yeah, that is it, man. Because if I carry on talking about AEW, I'm just gonna grind it to the ground. But let's move on. What has been going on in the WWE? Because oh man, you know what? I think today, you know what? I'm gonna call this show the complaint show because mate, what is going?
A couple of opinions, bro. There was some things I saw.
Yo, oh man. So on Raw last night, we had, I mean, I don't know how it actually happened. I didn't watch it. I saw the highlights, obviously know the outcome of the match. I don't know how the match started or how it happened.
Before we get on to what I think you're going to talk about.
Yeah. Go on.
On Raw last night, as the show opened up, breaking news: Bobby Lashley, WWE champion, is going to face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. I'm like, bruv, what? Hold on, what? Like, are we not going to put any respect on our champion and make people at least fight some type of number one contenders match?
Anticipation, like, something. Yeah.
What the hell? Like, what's this? What is this? And the annoying thing is that Drew and Sheamus are actually going to fight at Fastlane on Sunday.
For what?
Exactly. They've already beat each other up for 2 weeks in a row. Now you're giving them a non-meaning match, and Drew has already walked his way into WrestleMania. Now the chances are Drew was going to win on weekend anyway. So why couldn't you just make that the number one contenders match? Right. Like, it's just
it's jarring, bro. It's jarring because I saw the exchange between Drew and Lashley as well, and I'm just like, hold on. So the match is already set. You two are chatting in the middle of the ring. Bobby Lashley is about to have a match with Sheamus. Drew has a match with The Miz. Like, what was the point? What was the actual point? Like, and all of that, like, what was it? Bro. And then Fastlane is man. Listen, and then we had to make things even worse, also very specifically for the Hurt Business. The New Day versus the Hurt Business for the Raw Tag Team Championships, and the New Day are now 11-time Tag Team Champions out of nowhere and nothing. And to make things 10 times worse, before the end of Raw, we find out that they're facing AJ Styles and Omos at WrestleMania. Huh?
So basically, Hurt Business got completely quantum leaped out of the tag team division last night. Like, good match, really good match. And as the match went on, as I watched it, I just thought, these guys aren't winning this, are they? New Day put them away. New Day are obviously massive stars and deserve to be on a WrestleMania card. But I feel like with the momentum Hurt Business are carrying right now, and this is a 2-night Mania, you could have got these guys on the card in separate situations. They didn't even need to be in the same match, really.
Even if they were, they had time to build that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they've left it this late anyway, so you know you've still got 4 weeks. You know, WrestleMania tickets were meant to come out today, and they've pushed the date back. They're not on sale yet. Yeah, they're not even on sale.
No
yet.
Way.
This is a show that's out in 4 weeks, and this is why for those that watched Raw, you probably would have noticed this theme of just all of a sudden we're just bang announcing matches. It's because like you need to sell the card, and it's like so. Yeah, they beat Hurt Business. Omos and AJ Styles walk out. You know, AJ, I've done this, I've done that, I've won this belt, I've won that belt. I haven't won tag team belt. Omos said that we should be Raw tag team champions. So here it is. We're you know, challenging you guys for the Raw tag team championships. And you know, Kofi makes a joke of it. Oh, are you guys even registered as a tag team? Almost didn't even have get some beer and stuff like that. Like Kingston has been funny the last couple of weeks. But
of course, yeah.
You know what? I was thinking that at least let Omos and AJ Styles run into this situation of that match, squander the match, and then kind of announce it as a tag team. And like you say, then you can have some build. I think AJ Styles in a tag team of not massive proportion, and when I say massive proportion, we ideally want to see AJ in a tag team with a Finn Balor or an Adam Cole or someone like that,
or in a singles match.
Yeah, that's where it should be. But I mean,
in a singles match.
If you're gonna put him in a tag team, it's that kind of caliber of tag team that we're looking for. Almost, which I guess we can speak about in a second. I don't mind him debuting at WrestleMania. He's a 10-year-old debut at WrestleMania. So what's wrong with Almost doing it?
Yeah, of course.
And Almost, the story they tried to link in here was obviously Almost, I think, dumped Xavier Woods over the barrier a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
Why don't we give Xavier Woods a singles match against Almost at WrestleMania?
Bro, why don't we?
That's the story. Xavier Woods deserves a singles match at WrestleMania for everything he's done for this company.
Right.
He probably won't have a better chance to have one, given the situation of just coming out of Corona and all of this. Again, it's a 2-night card. Like Kofi Kingston doesn't.
But even still, you give Xavier Woods a singles match at Mania against AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah, why not?
Happy with that, because it gives Xavier Woods the credibility and the time that he deserves. And then we just know AJ versus Xavier Woods would be a good match, regardless. I believe they've had it before, way back in the day when TNA, when Xavier Woods was Consequences Creed, the longest name in history. And I know they had good matches, and whether it was singles or tag team, or they just come across each other at some point. They know each other, so that would have been an amazing match. Even off the back of what Almost did to Xavier Woods, that could still happen. And you're nice. No championship needs to be involved. Nothing. It's just a good build. A filler. As much as it's a filler match, it's still going to be something that we'd be excited for. We'd still be excited for it regardless. So yeah, it's kind of just like, why? Unless they do something where the Hurt Business get involved, and then maybe Miz and Morrison maybe get involved. Well, Miz and Morrison probably going to do something with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest anyway. Yeah. But if they turn it into some kind of 3-way, 4-way tag team match, then maybe it helps a little bit with the excitement and and all the rest of it. But this kind of it literally came out of nowhere. The Hurt Business got done over, and as much as I don't know, it hasn't been the greatest tag team reign. It hasn't. But at the same time, they're holding all the gold. Let the Hurt Business walk in with all the gold. If the Hurt Business lose at WrestleMania, then fair enough.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But for it to happen the way it did, out of nowhere, out of nothing, it's kind of like a, bit of a slap in the face.
And that's exactly it. Like, it's like, how would you feel 4 weeks out of Mania? And it's like, we're now taking the belts off you lads because, we're going to give it to, bigger stars going into the biggest show of the year.
Right.
It's just a bit, it's very deflating. Like, it's just very deflating. Massively. Like, that shouldn't happen. Like, you shouldn't, in an ideal world, creative would book so that the championships are swapped at the correct time of year, and it's not literally, we need to get the belt off this guy to give it to this guy going into Mania. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter who it is, black, white, Asian, whatever. It's just not a good way. It didn't leave a good taste in my mouth at all, like the way that just happened.
A lot of things on Raw just seemed a little bit chaotic. It definitely felt like one of those episodes of Raw that Vince McMahon ripped up the script like 5 minutes before it started, and decided to do something different and that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know what's happening with Naomi and these women's tag team championship, her opportunity that they should have had from 5 weeks ago.
They had it last week and they lost.
Well, it actually happened, I completely missed that.
The match was like 2 minutes long.
Swear, no way. Wow. Okay. Cool. That's the end of that.
Let me take some of the comments.
Yeah.
While we catch our breath. Anthony from Rated R for Wrestling said Sheamus versus McIntyre at Fastlane should have been to see who faces Lashley at Mania. Exactly like you said, bro. NK Bobby Lashley isn't leaving WrestleMania with that title. I hate it has to be this way, but that's what it's looking like at the moment.
Don't.
Faith Thompson, because WWE creative. That's why. You know what? I don't even know what that's in response to anything that we said, but it is so valid in everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's just one of them ones. Arpit, imagine the Hurt Business walking into WrestleMania with all the belts, but that's not happening anymore, and I hate that. He also goes on to say, also as a huge AJ Styles fan, I hate how they are having Styles on the card. Yeah, it's not great. Discus Lariat Collective, I still have my fingers crossed that the Hurt Business work their way into that tag title match at Mania, because it all feels a little slapdash right now. 100%.
Yep, for sure.
And Andrew says, I'm not too happy that the Hurt Business lost the tag team titles. That wasn't cool at all, bro. It wasn't.
Yeah. It just made no sense. And Discus Lariat Collective, saying that, hoping the Hurt Business find their way onto that card or into that match specifically is the only saving grace and thing we can hope for, because it's not. And the joke is, it's not even just the fact that they lost in the lead up to WrestleMania. It's the way that it kind of came literally from nothing. And I know that happens, and that's cool, but yeah, it just didn't work. It just doesn't work for me at all. I don't know what else to say. Go on.
I mean, the match has been set. I'll take Priv's comment here. Thanks for joining, Priv. He said, if they had brains, Bobby Lashley would be champion until next WrestleMania, build him into a giant star, drop the Drew push to push Lashley. Now, Lashley and McIntyre has been set. Obviously, we had heard that the rumor was that McIntyre wins it in front of a crowd at Mania to get that big win like he deserved last year. Where are your thoughts at this time in terms of who's going to walk out of Mania with the WWE Championship?
It is so difficult to say, and I don't think there is no obvious outcome right now. The one thing I'm upset about is that it's not Bobby versus Brock. We still have to wait for that.
Yeah.
I thought that would be it. I thought the stage was set. I guess so. I think the stage was set though for Mania. And Lashley with the title, Brock be like, oh, okay, cool. But then at the same time, I would still want it to be Lashley wins. So I don't think Brock would have been on that.
Yeah.
Brock definitely wouldn't have been on that. So that's not happening. So in regards to Drew and Bobby, I'm excited for the match. I loved what they did last year, just after Mania. Their interaction, everything was great. I've seen old matches from Impact with the two of them as well. Impact have jumped on the hype and put their old matches on free on their demand service. They do it every single week, with someone that's in WWE. They did it with AJ Styles last week. So yeah, there's that. So the match in itself can be built to be very exciting. Even Drew McIntyre said it. Them two, especially on Raw, are the two best built guys. All that kind of stuff. It's going to be a match of heavyweights, as he said on it. But there's no obvious outcome for me. There's no obvious outcome. Yes, there is the whole thing of we've heard it through the grapevine that Drew's going to win in front of a crowd, so he finally gets that, and he hasn't had that since Royal Rumble when he won that. Yeah. But then at the same time, with the way that they've built Bobby Lashley, there's a possibility. A part of me believes that there's a possibility they do want to keep building Lashley. Or it's the flip side of they build him so much just to then put Drew over just for a bigger whatever. So it's that, and I'm just like, we said it the week before Lashley won the championship. I think it was that was the fear that they're going to build Lashley so well just for him to lose to either Brock or Drew, just for the big oh my gosh, someone actually beat Lashley or whatever that is. mate. I'm so torn. I'm more torn than when they had their match after Mania.
Yeah.
Because even then, I was torn because Drew's my guy, as we know, and he just won the championship. Lashley was on a decent build at the time as well. They had a match, and I was like, yeah, Lashley could be ready to take this championship, but it was way too early in Drew's reign for him to win. But now it's even worse. It's even worse. It's a lot worse because I mean, I guess I don't care for Drew winning now because he's had the title. He had the title for on and off for a year. He doesn't need it, but him to win in front of the crowd, it's kind of like it kind of needs to happen because he hasn't been able to have that. But then Lashley's the champion, bro. I don't know. I'm so torn. It's like trying to choose between your son and your other son. Like what the heck?
I was saying on Twitter, I think it was just before the weekend, that I find it very hard to believe that at WrestleMania, Reigns is going to walk in as Universal Champion and probably walk out as Universal Champion, and Lashley is going to do the exact same. They like changing this belt, at least one of them at WrestleMania. So it sounds like Lashley may be collateral damage. The worst part, because it's WWE, is where do they go next with Lashley if he's to lose it? Like, Wrestling Realm, thanks for joining us, bro. He said, hope Lashley don't lose to Drew, but they could have a back and forth throughout the summer. Could do.
Yep, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, he goes on to say, while I don't care for Drew right now for the same reason, this makes the most sense.
It does, and not just in a sense of it's the better choice in terms of a storyline, but I think for me, it just makes the most sense in what we expect WWE to do. Yeah. And that's the other thing. That's the for me, that's always the biggest thing we have to think about when it comes to trying to predict what's going to happen next and all that kind of stuff. It's what WWE would do, not what we necessarily think is the best thing to do. I'm so deflated. I'm so upset.
Yeah, it's
I don't even know what to say.
Very difficult.
It's some madness.
I think that we all want Lashley to walk in as champion, walk out as champion, but like I said, for the sheer fact that I feel like they're gonna want one of the big titles to change hands on, one of the two nights or whatever. Roman he ain't losing. Like, surely Roman is not losing.
Roman losing to Edge.
You know what? I'll tell you this: if their match ends up being a triple threat match with Daniel Bryan involved, Roman can lose without being pinned.
That's true. That is very true, actually.
If it ends up like that. And maybe that's Lashley's ticket to
saving grace.
Walking out
of
Mania as champion. But
listen, if as soon as they announce Daniel Bryan in that match and as a triple threat, Lashley will celebrate as if he just won the WWE Championship.
But to be honest, that's how I was celebrating. Remember when they were in what was the pay-per-view? Was it Elimination Chamber where Lashley lost the US Championship?
Yeah.
The minute I saw that Keith Lee wasn't in it and they still wanted to make that match a triple threat, I said Lashley's losing, but he's moving on up.
Right. Exactly.
I guess if they make Roman's match a triple threat, then it's very likely Lashley retains.
Oof.
But I mean, Faith Thompson says here, Edge is beating Roman, Lashley is retaining.
Oh, that's the hope.
Like I would watch AEW if they take the belt off of Lashley. Wrestling Realm, yes sir, and think about Lashley winning. He looks even more almighty, 100%. Priv says, what if it's Daniel Bryan versus Edge for the belt and we have Roman versus Rock? I think it's too late in the day.
Too late for that.
They haven't even started selling Mania. Like, it's 4 weeks away. I think it's their mess. So yeah. Arpit says, "I'll lose my damn mind if Roman was to lose." I'm with you. I'm 100%
for real.
Roman's my guy.
For real. Yeah, man. It offers what it does do in a very positive way. It offers us things to think about. It doesn't make the whole thing predictable. As much as there are, things being said and rumors and for however long and whatnot and what we kind of expect, but there's still this chance that it happens the way that we want it to happen, or there's other things that could happen throughout the whole thing. So, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Just to stay on WWE very quickly as well, let us talk about Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I was watching, I watched our friend Britt Waters on her Wrestling Opinion. She's always right. That's what she says. I usually agree with her if I'm honest, but this one thing, I'm not quite sure. I don't know if I agree, but it's a definite topic of discussion. So we've seen the interaction between the two ladies, and Britt asked the question, her opinion, was that she feels that Bianca Belair is better than Sasha Banks in the promos. That Bianca Belair has been killing Sasha Banks in these promos that they've been having. Let me say this first before you answer. Personally, I don't think these promos have been great for either of them, and that's not their fault.
I agree.
It lacks a major amount of substance. It's like they don't. It seems quite obvious that they don't know what the direction is supposed to be. They're just kind of just being catty, with each other, and that's it. There's nothing to it. Even bringing in the original thing, like when Bianca Belair says about original here, original there, she's like, I'm like, okay, but where's it going? What are we saying? So shed a bit of light on with your opinion on the specific, Bianca versus Sasha in the promos.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think anyone's really shining. I don't think the material they have in terms of the story is there. It's a well of a way to kind of blunder something that,
right,
was so good. Come the end of January, we were rejoicing that this is the situation we would be in. And here we are, middle of March now, and we're like at the same place. Nothing has really advanced. They're being thrown together in these tag matches. As for the promos, I think I'm finding it weird how, like, in recent weeks, Sasha Banks, and I don't really know how to say this, so please forgive me if something comes out a bit mad. But I find it really weird how, like, Sasha Banks is kind of coming across more, or putting herself across more, as this kind of sexy character rather than boss. Everything is very sexual when guys can't get their hands off me and start looking at me and this and the other. And where has this change in attitude come, or change in instruction come? Like, why are you not the boss and all business going into, isn't this her first singles WrestleMania match?
I believe so. So.
Like, I feel like,
especially as a champion,
so I feel like even that should be that could be a direction. That's the energy you need to be carrying. And I feel like right now everything is kind of going down a road of just sexualizing things somehow. I'm tired of this.
Yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed in, because it's now becoming, because of that, that whole thing, it's now becoming very cheesy. It feels a little bit, just weird to watch. Bit cringe. That's the phrase I'm looking for. It's a little bit cringe, like. Okay, and for me, that's I think that's what's making the difference when it comes to judging them on their promos. I think it's that's making a difference, because Bianca's just being Bianca, I guess. The Bianca that we know, the Bianca that we've she's developed into in the last year or so. Whereas Sasha is who she is, and she's been doing great. But these last few weeks, it's kind of like, what are we doing, love? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly it.
But at the same time as well, I don't know whether that is her being given a direction, or her almost compensating at the fact that there is almost no direction. I think it's the latter a little bit more. She's kind of almost overcompensating. Yes, we've got the original thing, and it's easy to then talk about, the guys love me and he can't get his hands off me, can't keep his eyes off me and all that kind of stuff. I'm just really disappointed in how that whole thing is going at the moment. And I don't know how it's going to change. I'm hoping the Fastlane match is going to be the real pivotal thing to separate and really kickstart. Again, still enough weeks. There's still enough weeks for it to, take a good turn and build something build something special in terms of the story. But yeah, right now I'm not confident.
It's
just not confident.
Weird. It's very weird, and again, WWE haven't helped by booking them into these tag matches and stuff like that for the championships. They've got their own story. We'll get into comments in a sec. I've seen someone say something about Reginald, which he's another fiddle to play. Whether you like him or you don't like, he's been on Raw and SmackDown in both women's divisions.
Reginald is that guy.
He might be interfering with things for some people. I know they're going to give us a great match. But we want, something that's going to be an iconic feud and not just a match. We may not be in this situation again or for a very long time. So these are two of the best we got, and we want to, see something really come of this. Arpit says here that they have a match against Nia and Sasha. I think he meant Nia and Shayna next week. They have already given up on this feud. Oh, no, Nia and Sasha for the SmackDown Women's Championship is on Friday. That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You see what I mean? It's just like, what? Discus Lariat Collective, put one of the women's straps on Big Boy Reggie. Fella is the most consistently booked person across all women's divisions. That is the goddamn truth. Jonesy chats wrestling. Sasha to turn heel and align with Reginald ASAP. Even that should have happened.
Something, that should have happened like 4 weeks ago. That should have happened, and that would have been the catalyst. And we were expecting that to be the catalyst for the feud, and it then would have allowed Sasha to still be the same person, but then it'd be Reginald that does all the heel stuff, whether Sasha liked it or not. It wouldn't be Sasha doing the cheating. It'd be Reginald doing it on behalf of her, and then it adds to the whole thing and whatnot. Bro, we've got about 5 minutes to go. Let's do our stars of the week, but I'm still staying on the same subject because my star of the week is Reginald. My star of the week is Reginald for a whole month at least, especially since he kind of did this whole turn and he's turned his attentions to Sasha Banks. I've loved everything that he's been doing, if I'm honest. I just love the fact that he's one of these guys that's kind of come out of nowhere. We've not seen him have any matches on NXT. He's not done any of that. He's just literally come out of nowhere. And then he was able to show us his acrobatic skills against Sasha Banks a few months ago. But then he's at the forefront of what's going on with the women on SmackDown. Of course, Nia now turned her attentions to him as well. That little shopping spree that they had, funny. Reginald is a regular feature on the Wrestling Drip post that I put up every week. That guy is just on point, on form. I just love that he's come out of nowhere and he's doing his thing. And I know there's been, at the minute he's in a position where it's with the fans where it's either you love him or you hate him.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely on the loving him part right now. He's almost like a more upper class version of James Ellsworth.
Yeah.
Or Santina Marella back in the day. You know what I mean? That one man that's always in the women's business, the kind of like the weedy guy. But I just think he's doing it right. I mean, the only thing that's missing is a real direction from the WWE themselves.
Yeah.
But I just think he's doing what he needs to be doing, and doing it so well. I think his whole character, his little accent, the way he dresses, all of that is just so on point, bro. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. With Reginald, again, like you said, I echo everything you said, that he's just been great, and they clearly trust him. They've put him on TV every arrive. I understand the criticism where people say, he's getting in the way of the women's division for whatever reasons. However, I don't think that's not his fault. Of course, it's how he's been told to be used. And I just wish they connected the dots a bit better. He's ultimately came as Carmella's number 2. Carmella's not even on TV anymore.
Right.
And yeah, where Jonesy said Sasha should have aligned with Reginald, Sasha should have plucked him from there, because he was showing advances to Sasha from then. She should have plucked him and then used him as like Sasha's number 2. That could have helped heal Sasha up a bit going against Bianca. So yeah, with the correct usage of Reginald, he could be great. But right now he is a bit of playing the James Ellsworth role, but to a better extent, 100%.
Way better.
But so yeah, I hear that Reggie's been good. I got an honorable mention.
Go for it.
Bianca Belair, when she got rolled up by Nia Jackson, just rolled straight out the ring and just shouted at Sasha Banks, "I don't lose!" I actually had to pause the TV and I laughed out loud. Because she lost it. Like, obviously Sasha was messing around with Reginald and all that stuff. I just thought that was brilliant. So yeah, big up Bianca Belair for that. My star of the week is Ember Moon.
Nice.
Her Shotzi Blackheart just became the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions.
That was the other random booking of the week in
it was very
WWE
random
as well. Oh,
it was very random. I understand a lot of people's point of views, how they felt about that. I didn't really mind at the time, because as much as I like Dakota and Raquel, and you know, I want Raquel to move up, and it looks like that's exactly what we're gonna get. I love Shotzi Blackheart and I love Ember Moon. Right. And this makes Ember Moon the first NXT woman to win, you know, the NXT Championship and the NXT Women's Tag Team as well.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good match as well. Probably one of the better matches on the night. And yeah, this little resurgence that Ember Moon's been having in recent months, long may it continue.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of that booking, I think for me, it wasn't necessarily the fact that Ember Moon and Shotzi came away as champions. The one thing they did that probably shouldn't have happened was them giving the titles to Dakota and Raquel. If it was a thing where they, you know, presented the titles, these are the new ones, and we're gonna have a match between so-and-so and so-and-so to determine the first champions, no problem.
And you know what?
It's just that one little thing.
You know what? That makes total sense, and that's what exactly they should have done, because this was the final of the Women's Dusty Classic anyway. Exactly that. So just give them, they're both the number one contenders in that, right? The winner takes the belts. That's it. That's what it should have been.
Yeah, exactly that, and that's a bit unfortunate. But to stay on the, to stay with Ember Moon as your start of the week, I believe, you know, very similar to yourself as well. Like, you know, we've talked about it a couple of weeks ago, where we were saying how Ember Moon seems to be finding her form again.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, her in-ring abilities, blah, blah. Yeah, we're still waiting for the character, but her with Shotzi is a great move. It's helped massively. I'm an absolute massive fan of Shotzi Blackheart, have been for so long. So I love that she's now got a title to her name in NXT. She has just been, you know, since she debuted on NXT, you know, her levels have just been going up and up the whole time as well. So it's amazing to see that as well. So shout out to them too for coming away with titles. Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be interesting to see how that works now in NXT, as it being solely on that brand. You know, unfortunately, we've seen Casey Catanzaro's injured, so there's no Kaden Carter and Catanzaro.
Is she really injured? Because she was quite active on. I know they framed it like she was, and those pictures, but she was pretty active against Xia Li on NXT the other day.
I don't know. I mean, I saw a live that Kaden Carter was, and she was with her family, I believe. And Casey was there, still with the little thing on her leg and all the rest of it as well. Right. So I haven't read anything or tried to even find out if it's a real thing or not. But that is the case, and unfortunately, that knocks out a tag team for me that would have been very strong contenders.
Yeah.
Within the picture of that championship for sure. There's still Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. You still got what do we call her again now? Gigi Oldham or whatever. I can't remember what her name is anymore. Priscilla Kelly used to be Priscilla Kelly.
Yeah.
You got her and you know, those two. There's a few others that were in the women's Dusty Classic, but I don't know. I'm not a massive fan. I mean, it's nice that the NXT ladies get what they have in the tag team championship, but I just really feel as though the WWE really should have put a lot more into the women's tag team championships being the tri-brand championship that it was always supposed to be. And I think it just offered a lot more for everyone to do, and more interaction, a little more excitement for us as fans, all that kind of stuff. So for it to be gone, I don't know. I'm happy for the ladies on NXT, but in general, it's like, it's a shame. It's a shame. But shout out to Ember Moon. Shout out to Reginald for being our stars of the week. And our time is now up. Folks, thank you for joining us. We had a lot of comments in the chat today. So shout out to everyone that was in there and for joining us live here on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. For our folks who will listen to us on affinityextra.com, thank you. And folks, you can follow us wherever you feel to. If you care for Twitter, he'll be there. I probably will be sometimes. Check him out on WrestleManiac UK on Twitter, and also WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram. And you can also find me, Black Wrestling Alliance, on Instagram as well. Folks, that is the end of it. This is the end of the show. I've got meetings. I've got chicken to eat. I've got kids to feed. I've got to go. Folks, thank you very much. It is over. We are out.
Same time, same place next week.